Hey Startup Nation, I am so glad you came back to join us for another edition of the Startup Life. You clearly are ready to get the tools you need to get ahead of the competition. Go ahead and give us a 5-star rating while you're here. Now, if you're looking for an ad-free experience, go ahead and sign up for our Patreon page, where you will get exclusive content and access to our digital products that we're beginning to launch. The link is there in the show notes. And if you want to ask questions directly to some of our guests, follow the Startup Life Podcast Club on Clubhouse, as some of our conversations will start to happen there. But back to the task at hand. Are you ready to level up? Of course you are. Get ready as the Startup Life Podcast begins now. Enjoy. Look, Startup Nation, I get it. It happens to the best of us. We get tired, we get hungry, or that brand new The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is just sitting right there waiting for you to watch it, almost taunting you, right? Like I said, I get it. But you got work to do. Got emails to write, proposals to finish, and everybody's favorite, sales calls, the cold kind. But how do you get yourself revved up to get started? But more importantly, how do you sustain that momentum? I mean, work ethic is something that we all kind of struggle with from time to time because we got to get that push. But how do we get there? My name is Dominic Lawson, and this is the Startup Life. Let's begin.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Startup Nation, I hope you're ready to receive some value today. My name is Dominic Lawson, and this is the Startup Life, the show for entrepreneurs and career-minded professionals. Startup Nation, like I said, work ethic is something that you have to build towards. You have to work on it each and every day. You got to get those reps in. You got to get those at-bats, whatever, you know what I mean? So that's what we're basically going to talk about today. I'm not going to keep you for too long, but that's what we're going to talk about. But before we kind of jump into that, I just want to say, Startup Nation, I'm sorry. I've been gone for a while. Now, you may be saying, no, Dominic, you've been putting out a whole bunch of episodes, this and the other. You haven't gone anywhere. Well, what I mean is that I haven't been doing a lot of solo episodes lately now, have I? And for that, I do apologize. Look, the thing is that, I had been so focused on making sure I get the best business advice possible. And seeing as that I know I'm not the expert in all things, I've focused a lot of my attention on getting those experts. We had amazing guests to come on the show and give you that advice, to give you the tools you need, especially over the past year. The past year it's been one for the record books, and it's been a tough one. But I really doubled down on focusing on making sure I get those business leaders and entrepreneurs on the show to make sure you had every tool you needed possible to make it past these past 12 to 13 months. But at the same time, I should have talked to you myself from time to time, just a little bit more. I know I did from here and there, on the written blog, the Startup Life blog there on the startuplifepodcast.com. But I should have done more episodes over the past year. And for that, I do apologize, because life is all about balance. All right, cool deal. So let's get back to it. Look, Startup Nation, we often hear that success is the result of hard work and facing adversity, right? Like I said, past 12, 13 months has definitely been one for the ages where you talk about hard work and facing adversity, right? Not everybody has the right attitude or work ethic that is required to make that happen. And when you are a new entrepreneur, it's something you have to learn, get used to, or develop more. It's common to daydream, avoid work, or even procrastinate. Yeah, I'm looking at you procrastinating, right? And since we've been enduring this pandemic on top of that, many other distractions come to mind. A strong work ethic, Startup Nation, is useful and admired. And ultimately, building the type of business or life you want to develop is key. That's why we are talking about this today. Many of the most successful people in the world are known for having unrelenting work ethic. When you think about some of those entrepreneurs who get up at 3:45 at 4 a.m. and stuff like that, and you hit the ground running, that really what comes to mind. But I also want to say just really quickly before we kind of continue that you don't have to be that person. You know what I mean? If you're not a morning person, but you're one of those night owls, stick to that. The most important thing is you got 24 hours, Startup Nation. Just make sure you do the work, right? You got 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours. But let's get back to the task at hand. So Startup Nation, here are some things to try and lead to a more productive and successful workday. Now, look, number one, Startup Nation, this one's going to have a bit of a plot twist, but just bear with me. The first one is avoid time wasters. Television, social media, text messaging, email, and the internet are good ways to waste time. Having a strong work ethic requires focusing on work. Look, I get it. Again, we talked about, one thing I'm excited about right now is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? But on top of that, I have friends on social media and they, there's one in particular. I ain't going to name them right now. But I have friends on social media dropping funny memes and GIFs and videos, like, tagging me and stuff like that. And, like I said, I love my Disney Plus. I love my Netflix. You know what I mean? I have several shows just waiting on me, to watch, to binge watch the season finales. But the thing is, Startup Nation, we have work to do. You know what I mean? For the most part, all the stuff that you're, wanting to look at or like social media and those shows and stuff like that, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Think about it that way. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere anytime soon. So, but the thing is that, that time stamp to get that proposal in for that government contract, is closing fast. You know what I mean? That perfect date to release that book. You know what I'm saying? It's closing faster than when you tried to sneak back in the house as a teenager. Don't try to deny that. We've all been there. We've all been teenagers, but that's the thing, right? Those windows are closing fast, right? Think about it. When you're binge watching something or want to watch something on Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever the case may be, they're going to be there. They're going to be there for the weekend. But the thing is, the government contract or whatever that you got to write that proposal for, they're only open 5 days a week during work hours, right? And same thing for other things, right? So just make sure you're mindful of that, right? However, I told you it's going to be a plot twist, right? You can use those same mediums, Startup Nation, to get work done if you're creative. For example, I watched Oprah's interview from, a few weeks ago with Meghan and Harry, getting all the royal tea, but also learning from one of the master interviewers of our time, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey does this fantastic thing where she asks like these small, compact questions that, that kind of ushers her interviewees to give like these long, comprehensive answers, right? So for me, studying Oprah Winfrey is professional development. Also, I have lost count of how many times I've gotten paid speaking engagements from commenting on something on social media, through emails, or even DMs or text messages and more, right? Look, while those things can be distractions, you can turn them on their head and make them productive. Like I said, if you're creative. The point is, Startup Nation, is that you want to be intentional, not wasting time, right? If you're wasting time, you're not working. And if you're not working, you know what you're not doing? Making money. If you're not working, you ain't making money. Unless you have that residual income situation, you got that passive income situation, but you got to put the work in and build those systems first, Startup Nation, in order to make that work. The second thing I want to get to is you got to build up those work ethic muscles. Look, Startup Nation, let me ask you something. Would you go to the gym on your first day and try to lift just as much as an Olympian trying to medal? I don't think so. And if you did, you might hurt yourself some awful. But it works the same way if you're not accustomed to working on many tasks, right? Especially if you're a new entrepreneur learning how to work independently. That's one of the biggest things that can lead to startup failure, right? Not understanding, or not necessarily understanding, scratch that, but not, really getting in the groove of, working independently. Like there's no supervisor. You're the supervisor. There's no middle manager. You're the middle manager. There's no CEO because you're the CEO, right? But that takes some time, right? That definitely takes some time, right? But how do you do that? You got to get a few reps in and build that muscle memory. It's just like the lifting, like we talked about earlier, right? Maybe that first week you work 30 minutes a day, right? Maybe the next week, 45. Maybe the next week after that, 60. I think you get the point I'm going with this, Startup Nation. It's not practical to just jump from having a little work ethic to having a lot. Pace yourself and get better every day. Let me hit the repeat button on that one. Pace yourself and get better every day. That's the goal in this, right? Les Brown talks all the time. There's not a secret to success. There's a system to success. And that's what that means, right? Like when we talk about pacing yourself and get better every day, that's what we're alluding to, right? You want to build that system, right? If you're, one of my, people who love playing Nintendo, the old Mario, right? There's no pipe, right? That you can just go down and like skip about half of the level and then end up on the other side, right? And so just keep in mind about that, Startup Nation. The third thing I want to talk to you about is just hop to it. Look, most of us like to put off work that we dread the most. Full transparency, Startup Nation. Let me be clear about something. I absolutely love engaging with you, talking with you. When we have these conversations together, I know we haven't had the solo conversations in a while, but even when I have guests on the show, I love that part because I know I'm helping you get to the next level in your business, to help you start your business, this, that, and the other. On the flip side, though, if I'm being honest, I don't like editing, man. Editing is a grind, brother and sisters. Let me just tell you that editing is a grind, right? But I love creating the content. Like I said, I love engaging with all of you, but editing is nothing to play with. People tell you about podcasting and stuff like that. That's usually the part that gets them. It's not the content creating, even though that can be a beast in itself, but that editing really gets you. But the thing is, Startup Nation, I know what purpose I'm serving here. I know the goals that we're trying to do and helping all of you with your business as you move forward on your path to entrepreneurship. But the thing is, even with editing or anything else you don't like, right? I have found that once you get started, you'll be fine. It's like you got to get through that first kind of 5 minutes, that 10 minutes of like, I got to, oh man, I don't want to do it, but I got to get through it. You get through that first 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes for some of you who are a bit stubborn. But after that grace period, you really hit a groove. You know what I mean? You're in it and you're understanding why you're doing this thing that you want to do. Because look, everything in life, I don't care what it is. If it's something you want to do, then there are things that you absolutely have to do. Let me hit the repeat button one more time. In life, no matter what it is, if there's something that you want to do, there are things you absolutely have to do. And it works the same in entrepreneurship. It works the same in podcasting or whatever it is that you want to do. It's possible to develop a habit of attacking these tasks immediately. One success guru claims that the worst practice a person can have is putting off something until pressure requires it to be done. It's a stressful and ineffective way, Startup Nation, to handle your business. It's always best to do things ahead of time. That's what we were talking about, those residual incomes and passive incomes right there, putting the system in place ahead of time. It's always best to do things ahead of time. There's the whole saying, I ain't going to screw it up because I can't even think of it right now. It's best to just get things done ahead of time. You know what I mean? At the very least, you have more time to fix mistakes, right? Because if you start stuff, let's say you got a deadline, right? Like that it's on March 1st. I mean, you're on March 1st. The deadline's March 19th, right? And, if you start on March 1st and you complete it or get most of it completed, or whatever the case may be, you have more time to fix those mistakes as opposed to if you started on, let's say, I don't know, March 16th. Now you're up against the gun, right? They tell you the same thing in investing in the stock market, right? It's best to invest while you're younger as opposed to older, right? Because you have more time to fix the mistakes if you take a look, or at the very least you have the ability to be a little bit more risky, as opposed to risk adverse as when you're older. What I mean. So the same kind of applies here, Startup Nation. That third point, hop to it. hop to it.
All right, Startup Nation, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got to pay some bills. Once again, my name is Dominic Lawson, and you're listening to The Startup Life.
Hey, Startup Nation, check it out. So I know many of us are working from home, we're social distancing, staying at home, doing Zoom calls, all the stuff like that as we work on our business and our careers and stuff like that. But, personal hygiene is still important, not just from the standpoint of, keeping yourself clean and stuff like that, but also, when you still engage in great personal hygiene practices, you still, tend to perform better when you're in your meetings and on your phone calls and stuff like that. It's why we always talk about when you're doing a phone interview for a job, you should still dress to the nines, suited and booted, right? Because you're in the mindset of, performing well, performing at a high level. And one of the things that I've been trying out is the Juni brush from Juni Essentials. Startup Nation, check it out. Now, look, I have been rocking with my toothbrush for a long time now, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, it costs a pretty penny, but this Juni brush is actually pretty cool. For starters, it won the Red Dot Product Design Award for 2020, right? But it's also created by dentists, engineers, and designers who really took a very simplistic design, and I mean that in the best way possible, to really give you a great toothbrush. It has an ergonomic bamboo handle, which I really like because it's almost like, how you get those toothbrushes where it just kind of feels weird in your hand and it's all heavy and stuff like that. You're not going to get that with the Juni brush. It really kind of like curves to, your thumb when you're brushing your teeth, and the bristles. Oh my goodness. They're made with some type of technology. I think they call it PBT bristles or something like that. But it's so soft, because how many times have you gotten a toothbrush, Startup Nation, and it says that it's soft, but it ain't really soft. You know what I mean? Still feel like, it was made to, brush concrete or something, right? But you're not going to get that with the Juni brush. And the thing is that, like I said, I paid a pretty good penny for my toothbrush, but after using the Juni brush for 7 days, I'm gladly going to make the switch. And honestly, Startup Nation is at a fraction of the cost, right? It just goes to show that great innovation, can really, serve well for the greater good to save you money, but still have a great product. So I highly recommend the Juni brush. Also, let me just add this in mind as you think about this. It's also, how, we're always thinking about ways to make the planet a better place, a little greener and stuff like that. So the Juni brush comes in plastic-free packaging, and it's also made of bamboo, right? So I think that's also an added bonus when you check out the Juni brush. And now, Startup Nation, Juni has just released their starter kit, which includes a set of amazing products for your entire sustainable oral care routine. It includes all natural toothpaste, a metal toothpaste ringer, a bamboo toothbrush case, and a toothbrush holder for the bathroom. So you can just go once again to juniessentials.com to check out the Juni brush, as well as all the great new products that they have there on the website. The link is there in the show note. Now let's talk to today's guest.
All right, Startup Nation, welcome back as we continue our conversation with today's guest here on The Startup Life.
Startup Nation, this next one, and I can't stress this one enough. It's an important. Make a schedule. Make a schedule. I cannot stress that enough, Startup Nation, that you got to make a schedule when you're trying to improve those work habits, right? It's an effective way to work all day while you're avoiding that burnout is to stick to the plan. And burnout is real, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, that part of that startup failure is that burnout. You know what I mean? So let's make a schedule, right? Look, if you are aimlessly trying to get work done, you will aimlessly be useful in that endeavor or whatever it may be, right? Like if you're aimlessly trying to get work done, you will not hit the target. You just won't. It might take some time to find a perfect schedule that matches you and your work. And that's good. Try some stuff. You know what I mean? Let's try this one, right? Just some little advice here. Let's start 25 minutes, 5 minutes off, right? 30-minute increments, make 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. After repeating 4 of these, Startup Nation, 30-minute cycles, right? Then take like a 20, 30-minute break. That's usually when lunchtime is anyway, right? Most of us, believe it or not, maintain a high concentration level for about 25 minutes and repeat if we have a short break. Don't discount the rest, Startup Nation. Again, burnout is a real thing. Take that quick 5-minute break. Hell, even if it's just to get a little water, stay hydrated. That makes me to a little side point, a little sub point. Drink water, stay hydrated, as my drill sergeant would say, but that's neither here nor there, Startup Nation. The next step or the next tip I have for you is be a closer. That's important. Be a closer. Look, are you great at getting out of the gate but finish poorly? Finishing, Startup Nation, is a habit. Just like stopping when you're stopping at 90%. It's just like stopping when you're at 90% of the way of the prize. Finish everything you start, right? You get to that 90% of the way to your journey and all of a sudden, like, you know what? I'm good right here. I'm done. That doesn't make sense, right? If you're got to do the dishes, do them all in one session. If you're cleaning the garage, complete the entire task. Learn to hang in there, Startup Nation, until the job is 100% done. Not 70, not 80, not 90, not 95, not 99.9, 100% done. Don't be that person that gets to the end of the finish line. Again, like I said earlier, don't be that person. You just get to the finish line, and you see the finish line, you're like, you know what? I've done pretty good here. I think I'm done. I think I'm good right here. Now, don't be that. No, and to cite a famous animated movie, cookies are for closers. So be a closer. Last but not least, Startup Nation, and this is a big one, check your emotions. This might be the essential key to success, Startup Nation. We always talk about mindset on this show a lot, right? And so checking your emotions is a part of it. Think about it. If you could genuinely check your emotions, you'll never cheat on another diet. You'll always make it to the gym. You'll never get upset, sad, jealous, or irritable again. You could make yourself do anything at any time. Let me repeat that. Let's go back. You can make yourself do anything at any time. You can make yourself get off the couch and go to the gym. You can make yourself turn off the Disney Plus and get that proposal done or that book done, right? It's just good to start controlling your emotions when you recognize when they're getting away from you. You got to be introspective, right? This game of entrepreneurship, this journey that you're on, right? Or even if you're scaling the corporate ladder, it requires you to be introspective, right? Don't be in your head too much, right? But you got to be introspective and you got to be honest with yourself. So you got to check those emotions. The time to deal with stress or distractions is right when they start. They really are. Feelings can quickly reach a level that is much more challenging to manage. So catch your feelings early. So here's my final take. Startup Nation, developing the right mindset for a good work ethic can be difficult. It is. It's difficult for all of us. But if you're trying to accomplish something great, well, it's a requirement. Again, goes back to that statement I made earlier. If there's something you want to do, there are some things you absolutely have to do. You cannot escape that. With a stronger work ethic, you'll get more done in less time. It's funny how life works that way. It really is. You'll get stronger. You'll get more done in less time. Your goals will always be achieved much more quickly. The world is competitive. Do you want to attempt to compete with a weak, flabby work ethic? I don't think so, Startup Nation, because that's not how we roll. Start strengthening your work ethic today. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Startup Life. I really miss talking to you on the solo episodes. We're going to do more of these, right? You may have heard the new type of content we just released, Startup Pivots. We're going to do some more of that stuff. We're going to do some more solo episodes like this. And we're going to do another type of solo episode as well, because I miss talking to you guys. Well, look, did you find any of these helpful? Have some of these been successful in what you do? Was there some we didn't name, right? Reach out to us and let us know what you think. If you want to let us know what you think about the show, have an idea for a show topic, or would like to advertise on a show, send us a message. Our contact information is there in the show notes, or feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Go ahead and follow us while you're at it. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast One, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and be sure to hit us with that 5-star rating. We would really appreciate that. Be sure to check out the show's website and its startup blog, where either I or some of the world's best business minds share content that will give you the edge you need in your journey, whether that's the path of entrepreneurship or climbing the corporate ladder. Subscribe to our Patreon to listen to ad-free episodes, exclusive content, and digital products that we are beginning to offer. And if you want to be part of the conversation, join the Startup Life podcast on Clubhouse to have the ability to talk directly to some of our guests. And as always, Startup Nation, if you have an idea, be about that life, the startup life.